Christian, the now ex-team principal of Red Bull, opened up on the future of the four-time world champion in the Austrian team. The news that he had a share could be understood as both positive and negative at the same time. But with Red Bull's downfall being evident and Horner no longer at the helm, could we see Verstappen race with another team in 2026? And if not, how will the rest of the grid pan out if the Dutchman doesn't commit to a shocking move? There's no doubt that the hottest topic in the world of Formula One right now is the future of Max Verstappen. The four-time world champion stated loud and clear that he wanted to compete up front. And as of now, I don't see that happening with the upgrades of Red Bull. And neither does Max. Everything seems to be going from bad to worse with Horner's immediate sacking. Rumors have only continued to swirl that Verstappen could be next in line to leave the sinking ship. However, if you ask Horner, he wouldn't have the same opinion as the majority of the F1 media. The Brit believes that even though there's a lot of fuss created around Max's future, 2026 is not going to be the year in which he'll leave Red Bull or even think about it. However, that cannot be guaranteed for 2027. As Horner said, in 2026, Max is staying where he is. He's going to have all those options. It won't be just with one team. And I think it's more about 2027 than perhaps about 2026. We know the usual suspects when it comes to Max changing environments: Mercedes and Aston Martin. The Silver Arrows have gained a bit more traction recently, and for all the right reasons, because of the Sardinia rumors between Wolff and Verstappen. On top of that, reports close to Mercedes stated that Antonelli could be taking a temporary home in Alpine just so that Max and George are going to lock horns as Mercedes drivers and see who's the better choice to move forward with. I think we'll get this answer pretty simply, but what Horner said is actually making a lot of sense from different perspectives as well. For starters, Max or any other human being on the grid has no idea how the cars are going to perform from 2026 onwards. The drivers are not the biggest fans of the regulation change, that's for sure. But with the challenges becoming narrower and the aerodynamics being changed massively, the teams with a proven record of building dominant engines should have an advantage. This is where Mercedes, Ferrari, and potentially Honda could benefit a lot, whereas the rookies, Red Bull powertrains and Audi, are expected to struggle a little bit. But we've seen that if Max has somewhat of a winning car in his hands, which was the case in 2024, he could be up there, and he's going to continue giving everyone headaches in terms of the championship fight. That, however, won't be enough for him to win championships. And we know that if Max doesn't compete for the number one spot, the sport is not going to be interesting enough for him to stay for a longer period of time. To make matters worse, he's already expressed his wishes to retire in his early 30s, which is one more reason why teams that are willing to sign him need to think twice before they commit to him. All of this is giving us a lot to think about regarding Max's future. But at the end of the day, I think the culprit is more than clear. Verstappen is going to see what the first year with the Red Bull powertrains engine is going to look like. And if it's as bad as everyone expects, he's going to listen to the offers from the other teams. This might have been the final conclusion from the meeting in Italy with Wolff. Even though the media tried to hide it and stated the fact that both of them were at the same place and at the same time was just pure coincidence. Let's not fool ourselves. Nothing in this sport is a coincidence. And as Zach Brown said, when there's smoke, there's fire. As for Horner, it's worth adding that just because he is not a team principal anymore, it doesn't mean he's not a Red Bull employee. The Austrian squad is putting him in a situation where he needs to serve a gardening leave until the end of this year before he joins another squad, with Alpine being the leading candidate. But even without that gardening leave, he's still part of the team in some shape. And at the end of the day, we need to be thinking about the bigger picture here. Do his words have any meaning regarding Max's future? Still, Max was one of the Red Bull members who wasn't particularly happy with the internal drama in the team. And that's precisely what brought all of the dominoes crumbling down the way they did. The majority of the stakeholders are now Austrian thanks to the 2% sold from Javidia, the oldest son of Helm. So, the narrative and the leadership is changing as well. Horner's philosophies might not be applicable anymore, but that still doesn't change the fact that Red Bull is in a very big problem regarding the development of their car, which further fuels the fire that Max would look for another team from 2027 onwards. Interestingly enough, Brundle believes that the exit of Horner from Red Bull is not just a coincidence. Far from it. The problems in the team ran deep ever since the internal investigation that he and Marco tried to brush under the carpet just so that they could focus on the championship fight. However, the WhatsApp messages that resurfaced after a couple of weeks from the initial allegations have reignited the fuel. And this could be precisely why Horner's downfall was imminent from day one. Be that as it may, we are in a very interesting position where Verstappen's future is going to be decided by the first year of the new regulations. Who knows, maybe Red Bull's powertrain, backed by Ford, is going to do wonders. But I still believe the Austrian squad is going to be a one-man team. If that's the case, then Verstappen might want to think about changes to the environment, because obviously his feedback isn't implemented properly or the engineers have no idea what's wrong with the car. The technical leadership by Vasseur and Balbaugh has underperformed massively in their departments. And if they're falling down next after Horner, then you know the shareholders want to start everything from a clean sheet. Is this to keep Max happy and to assure him that the team could be rebuilt with new tools and staff? Most likely, but time will tell whether we're right here. With all of this in mind, do you think that Max Verstappen will stay with Red Bull in 2026 and take one more year to decide whether this is the team in which he wants to race in the newly regulated era? And more importantly, if he doesn't, which team do you think would suit him the best? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.